Hi everyone, I want to walk you through the steps of submitting a good teacher graded assignment. So you may not have done this before and you may have some questions on what you should do. So if we jump into the content, this will specifically cover the example for semester A students in 1.11, but this applies to any teacher graded assignment you'll submit. So in Unit 1 for Semester A students, your first teacher graded assignment is 1.11. And the first thing that you need to do is make sure that you've done the lesson introduction and the investigation. So for this specific teacher graded assignment, this is where you'll find all the instructions for the experiment that you'll be doing. So if we open that up, I want to show you a few parts. If you go to page 2, it gives you a guide of what you should answer in your lab report in the introduction. So that's part of what you're being graded on. Then the discussion and conclusion. And so it gives you some topics here of things that you need to answer so that you can get the most points. All right, so you've done the experiment. This experiment was done back in 1.8, I believe is the lesson number. But you've already done the drop and bounce lab. So you've seen all that content and now you're putting it into a lab report. All right, so the next thing we want to do is go into that Word document. So when you go in, sorry, it took me all the way back here. Okay, so when you go here and you open the lesson again, you're able to click on the assignment portion. So here are all the instructions. You want to read them very carefully. The most important thing on the instructions that I share is before you fill in your answers on this report, you're going to see it in just a minute, delete all the text in brackets and the sample data table. So this is set up because it is your first lab report. It does give you a template to show you what you'll be including and what it should look like. So it's a model. So when you open up the lab report, and I think it's going to have opened, it's right under my timer for my video. So let me see if I can get it over and drag it over for us. All right, so here, the first thing you need to do is enable the editing. So that way you can make changes to this and save it. All right, we don't want to save the file as this strange 8450 number that comes up. So you want to do File, Save As, and you want to change that name to Drop and Bounce Lab, your first and last name. And then you save it to where you can find it. All right. So I need to cancel that or go back. All right. So make sure that you save it so that when you go in to upload it, you're finding that exact file and not submitting this paper with nothing, this page that has nothing filled in on it. So if we look carefully at the directions, it's saying use this document as a template for writing your lab report. So descriptions of what to include and examples of each section have been provided. Again, it tells you before submitting this document to your teacher, delete all the text in the brackets, including this text. So now that you've read those instructions, or you may want to fill in everything and then delete the instructions at the end. But you're going to be deleting everything in brackets. So here, all of this in brackets, delete it. And you'll type your title under title. So Drop and Bounce Lab. In the introduction, it's giving you a sample lab. So our lab is not over surface tension. So I don't want to read anything in your introduction about surface tension. It should all be about your Drop and Bounce Lab. And if you remember, back in the assignment page, the investigation, it told us the questions to answer in this introduction. Okay, so the next step will be deleting all of this and typing our own introduction. Or you can type your own using the model and from there, delete it. Okay, so we don't want any of this information in our introduction, but we do want to leave the big bolded words. Okay, after that, going into our data and observations, okay, we do need a data table, and you could probably build off of this one, but you're going to have to change the information inside it because, again, this is not related to anything in our lab. All right, and then you type your data and observations. So you can create your own data table. I've seen many students do that, and then insert it in. And then you'll also include your observations. So that is, what did you see happen in each trial? So you'll include that there. And then as you get down to your discussion and conclusion, you are filling in, again, this information. So you'll be deleting all of this stuff. We don't need any of that. Okay, then you want to save it, like I said, lab name and your first and last name, and make sure that you're able to upload it into the Dropbox. If you really don't understand what to do, or you have questions on what you typed out, you don't know if it's correct, please don't submit it to me and ask, hey, Ms. Reister, is this right? Or what can I do better? Those things need to be done, for instance, in Help Lab, where we could work one-on-one to improve something before you submit it for grading. So you want to make sure that whatever you're putting in the Dropbox is your final best copy, meaning you know what you're doing, you've answered it to the best of your ability, and you're ready to have it graded. Okay, that means it's clear, you know exactly what to do, and you've done it to the best of your ability. That's when you submit. Okay, please don't submit it and say, hey, tell me what I did wrong to correct it. Because that means I'm grading and grading and grading more. It just increases the grading load, and it takes longer to get students their feedback. So if you have questions, let's go over that together in Help Lab before you submit your assignment. All right, so that should get you going. Lesson title is very important, how the file is saved. Remember, in the Dropbox, you're only able to upload Word document, PowerPoint, Excel, which you won't ever need, and a PDF document. If you're working on a Mac, I can't accept, it will not open for me, a Pages document. You're going to need to save it as a PDF. So it'll let you upload it, but I won't be able to open it on this side. So if you have questions on that, let me know. And hopefully this gave you some helpful information to submit your lab.